Good morning. I'd like to call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. It's Monday, December 15, 2014. It is now 8:35. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Selectman Havard to lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Charles. Item 2, public forum, limited to 3 minutes on any agenda item. Anybody wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item 3, approval of the minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve. 3.1 is the minutes for November 17th, which was a regular meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, motion was made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Thank you. 3.1, meeting of November 20th.
3.2.
Excuse me, did I say 3.1? 3.2. November 20th, which was a special meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Second was made. Any additions or corrections to the special meeting? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Thank you. 3.3, November 24th, which was also a special meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any additions or corrections? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Item 4, Finance Director Sheila Villano. Morning, Sheila.
Good morning.
Morning, Sheila.
Hi.
Start off with revenue.
Okay, we'll start off with revenue. Let's see, 11:30 on the received column, top of the received column. We've received 54.8% at the end of November, compared to 52.2% at the end of last November. Is that what your report's saying? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you send revisions out?
No. I just got a little bit thrown off the track here because the column header is wrong on the received side, so I wanted to make sure I was reading from the right report, but I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are in a better place than we were last year. A few things. You see a large percentage in Selectmen's revenue. That's really an unusual number. That's because we had the sale of the fire truck, and that revenue went into Selectmen's revenue. That's not to say that it's going to stick there. That's where we put revenue in the past from sales of surplus property. So that's what's causing that. It's not a big number, but it's causing a big percentage over budget.
We thought you were going to apply it to the Selectmen's Christmas party.
I know. Sorry.
Instead of our usual cup of coffee.
The other revenues in departments such as Public Works, Engineering, Health Department, they're over again because of the permitting that's going on at the Guilford Commons through DDR. And Youth and Family is a little bit below where they were last year at this time, although Lynn does project she's going to be over 50% in December. And really, I did ask her about why she might be a little bit under last year, and she reminded me last year they signed up a lot of people under the Affordable Health Care Act for insurance, so they were able to collect through the insurances. But she's still on track or above for the year. And tax collections are remaining strong. They are quite a bit ahead of last year, 55.1 to 53.4. But again, that's timing. I can assure you that by the end of the year, the tax collector will make her her budget and hopefully maybe give us a few extra dollars, but I don't see any issues with any, we're on track for making our budget. So revenue does look good.
Any questions on revenue?
Okay. All right. Expenditures, we are at 51.3% versus 53.7% obligated last year. Again, that puts us ahead of where we were last year at the same time. There's really not FEMA in the mix anymore to skew the numbers. It's timing of expenditures. You could look at debt service. Debt service is just a little bit below last year, and those are big numbers, so that really kind of skews the bottom line slightly. But debt service, we end up paying our budget. So that's a timing issue there. And everything else is looking like it should look at this point in the year.
A question I have on the building department.
Building, yes.
You obviously haven't transferred the additional expense over to the high school yet.
Right, and that's the one area that's causing that to look a little bit too high compared to last year. And I'll tell you what that is. That's the amount for the building inspector for the high school, and it's charged to part-time salaries, and right now that's overexpended by $31,000.
Sorry, okay.
So that amount will be all charged to the high school. That's usually done on a quarterly basis, so. Any questions? Okay.
And engineering public works, that's just because of the encumbrances, that's normal.
Yeah, the blankets, I mean,
Okay.
that's pretty much the same
Okay.
each year.
Okay, good. Any questions on expenditures? No? All right, good.
Okay,
That's the good news. Now let's look at medical.
Medical, we had, well, it was $1,003,000 was our claims. It was less than last month. It wasn't the highest month we had so far, but still difficult, higher than our the amount that we're projecting a deficit of $301,000 if we continue at the rate we had been for the prior 5 months. So I annualized out that the $1,137,000 is what we're projecting at this point. Last month I didn't have the numbers from Anthem for October. I have October numbers on here right now, and I don't have November. It's kind of I think the meeting is slightly early. Well, maybe not. Yeah, they usually come about the day before the meeting, so I'm sorry I don't have them from Anthem, but we could see that there's been $1,003,000 in claims greater than $75,000, which is 50% of our stop loss, and of that amount, $419,289 has been covered by the stop loss. That's ISL's individual stop loss. The $1,003,000 is 6 or 7 different claims. So in the aggregate, they're a big number, but individually, that the stop loss is 419 that's been covered. So that 419 is not in our claims number that we've paid. I sort of changed the format a little bit because there were questions last month about that. I hope this is easier for you to understand.
So the net of those two numbers is in the claims,
Yes, yes,
whatever it is,
Yes.
approximately 900,000?
yes.
Okay.
So had we not went to a lower stop loss, our claims pay would have been much higher.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's only one claim possibly that's gone over, 1 or 2 that's gone over the stop loss. So,
Already?
Right, and that's the
Okay.
419, but the whole 419 may not have been part of, it's hard to say with the.
Mhm, I
what it was
understand.
In the past,
I
yeah.
understand, okay. Okay.
And we've actually started discussions with our consultant from Milliman on next year's budget and really taking a good look at where we're gonna be next year with this. So it's early this year. It's good.
Okay. It's important to note that this is a combined town and school, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No,
Okay.
medical. You have capital reports for the general school and town projects and not for the high school project. We're working on, as I discussed last month, to try to pin down all of the commitments that are outstanding for the high school. So next month you should see a comprehensive report that combines all the expenditures to date and the outstanding commitments. So you could see, where we are, but I know that what the high school building committee is saying is that they're on time and on budget.
Yeah, they're doing fine. Well, any other questions for Finance Director? Okay. Thank you, Sheila. Okay. Item 5, Guilford High School Standing Building Committee, 5.1, discuss and take possible action to withdraw the bid award for Staples for bid 4-1415, Guilford High School furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and award to the next highest bidder, WB Mason. Do we have anybody representing the high school?
I'm with Tysu Kim, the architects.
Please, okay. State your name, please.
Susan Pinkney.
Okay. You're not in relation to Scott, are you?
I, very distantly.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay,
Thank
Susan.
We received a bid from Staples in the amount of $14,895.21 for items listed in category S1, Science Standard. And they actually sent us an email and requested withdrawal of their bid because they'd made an error. We took it to the building committee. The building committee requested that we approach you on the subject of the awarding to the next highest bidder, which was WB Mason. Their bid came in at $34,250.
Okay.
Pretty big difference, yes.
Yep. Pam, would you like to join us on this one, please?
Did either of the numbers make sense or not make sense when you looked at them?
When I looked at it, I was very surprised. I was very surprised at the low number because there were other bidders who had done partial bids on this, and I was thinking that it seemed very, very low. So I think they actually forgot to put in a markup for something, I'm not quite sure, but there's obviously, it did seem very low. I was very surprised.
Okay. The
Were
way,
other bids around that, were there any other bids around the low number? Obviously not, the next highest.
Next highest was WB Mason.
and the way I understand this, because we had a discussion about this last week, is that they have the right, obviously, to withdraw the bid, with a caveat, that being that there's a surety bond that they
Correct.
post. And I'm not comfortable in discussing the surety bond in the public session. And I will ask the board to entertain a motion at some point that we discuss that in the executive session. Okay, but let's deal with this issue
Yep.
for the moment, okay? So we have the right to pull back the awarding of that bid.
Absolutely, yeah, you
Okay.
can't award, they withdrew, so you
Okay.
can't award to them.
Okay.
And then the high school building committee and TSK, the consultant is recommending that you award to the next highest bidder.
Okay.
So it's before you to take up that recommendation and decide to do so.
Procedurally, so I'm clear on this.
Yeah.
I think the board is clear. Do we have to rescind our motion
Yes.
of awarding the bid to Staples even though they have withdrawn it?
Yes, I would do that, or
Okay.
vote to withdraw the award.
Okay, that's my
And
understanding.
then re-award to the next highest
Okay.
bidder, yes.
Okay, so I would make a motion
Yeah.
to withdraw the bid, withdraw the award of the bid to Staples for the FF&E. Second, okay, you second that, Carl?
Second.
Okay. Is any discussion on that?
Can we combine that with a motion to award it to, well, go ahead. We'll-
I think we
we'll
should do it
separate.
separately.
Do we want to say in the motion, due to its withdrawal?
That'd be good.
I'll accept that amendment, okay? Is there a second to that? Okay. All those in favor of the motion on the table with the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye, okay. All right, now, what is the amount of the next highest bidder?
$34,250.
Is there a motion on the
I
table to
would,
accept
I would
it?
move that we award bid 41415 to WB Mason in the amount of $34,250.
And what category, maybe?
Category S1.
Category S1.
Okay.
S1 right here.
Category S1.
All right.
Right.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to make another motion to add to the agenda at the end and put it, move 5.2 to the, we'll put it as number 18
Under executive session.
and move it to executive session.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
To
Okay.
discuss the pending claim.
Right, to discuss the pending claim. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Gary?
Joe, I just think you might want to add that we're not doing it to be secretive to the taxpayers, but we don't want to, we don't want to let Staples know what our negotiating strategy
Well, that's
is.
it. That's exactly right. And I'm going to invite our in-house counsel to that. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Item 6, Board of Education Director of Operations / Facilities, Cliff Kernam. 6.1, consider and take possible action to waive the bidding for architectural and engineering for the science wing and contract with Silva Petroselli Associates for these services. Morning, Cliff.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I did send you a letter that outlined where we are with the project. This project was a Board of Ed project, or is a Board of Ed project / town project that will encompass both of the entities over the next year, 2 years. We've done a lot of preliminary design, utilities and schematic design for the lower level of the high school science wing, with the long-term plans of turning that over to the town around June 1st or July 1st. So we went through several different rounds of proposals to get where we are now. We're a good portion of the way through the design project, so what we're looking at doing is asking the Board of Selectmen two-part to, first of all, waive the bid process and allow us to continue using Silver Petroselli and Associates for the taking everything from CDs to, from schematic design into CDs, so that we can have this project hopefully bid out in the spring, with the work to start around June 1st. The additional cost to get the design plans to CD level is $29,000. That's broken up $13,000 for A&E and approximately $16,000 for MEP's mechanicals. So the funds for this would come from a 2013 bond for future design of projects that we have approximately about $38,000 in that line for. So that's what we're requesting.
And Cliff, just for clarification, the reason that you want to waive the bidding is because of the familiarity of Silver Petroselli with the project. Is that
Correct. They designed the utilities for the building up to a certain point. They've essentially done the utility part, so they've also done the schematic design, so they're pretty far along already in the process. So yes, they're very familiar with the building, they're familiar with the project, and they've already have all the preliminary information. So.
And you also see that as, because they're so familiar with the project, you see that as a bit of a savings if
It is. If we
someone
have to,
brand new would have come in and.
correct, they'd be starting almost from scratch, or they would have to start looking into everything that was done by Silver Petroselli. So we'd have a loss of time, and there would be a cost to it because we'd have to go out to bid. There'd be a cost to doing that, and the major portion would be the savings in time. If we go back out to bid now for a new A&E firm, the chances of you having this work done over next summer would probably not happen. And we know we need a lot of that work, especially the utilities and mechanicals need to get into place as that building becomes detached from the existing high school. It's a critical piece, so we do have a very tight timeline.
Okay. That's got to be almost surgically detached.
It will be interesting, yes.
Okay.
I would move that we waive the bidding and accept the bids offered by Silver Petroselli to complete this engineering.
Second?
I have a motion that's made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I would
Gary?
only just, I was interested that there's a phrase in here that says reuse of existing 600 amp equipment. I trust in this process, considering the entire rest of the high school is being demolished, there may be some other reuses that would come into play for equipment such as this. Maybe some conversation with the facilities department and others. There may be some of this big electrical equipment or panels or whatever that just shouldn't go in a dumpster.
Right.
So I would ask you to look at that concept as you go through this process.
Absolutely. And we've already started that, looking at boilers and things of that nature to see if there's anything we can reuse. Absolutely.
Will the new building, not new, but the repurposed building have a generator?
Will it have a generator?
Can the generator,
We could, if it's recommended by somebody,
there's no generators at the high school that could be repurposed?
no, there's no generator at the high school at all, at the present high school. So, no.
Wouldn't the fire department's generator be used if the present high school had to be used as an emergency center? I mean, didn't we purchase a big one?
The Board of Ed has several generators, and then I know that the fire department does have a large rolling movable generator. So between what they have and what we have, we would have capabilities. And during the last Hurricane Sandy that came in, we actually did open the high school as an emergency shelter, but we didn't actually have to fully activate it, but we did get power and things up and running there because we thought we may have to use it. So we do have all the procedures in place.
When they're doing the plans for the repurposed building, can an option be either an easy connect or whatever to the fire department's existing rolling equipment or to a future generator? I mean, can that be designed in
Yes.
so that we don't have to redesign it in a few years?
And we will most certainly probably do that just for future use of that building. Yep.
Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Thanks, Liv. Item 7, Fire Chief Charles Hershaft, 7.1, discuss and take possible action to award the bid 11-1415 mobile generator for the fire department. That was a good segue, Chief. Huh? Good morning, how you doing?
Good timing. We happen to be buying a bigger generator, a 200 kW generator, which is fairly substantial compared to the 35 kW one that we currently have that is on wheels. I recommend that we award to the lowest bidder on the two items, Tower Generator System LLC of Canton, Connecticut, for the 200 kW generator itself, for in the price of $69,310. And to Zelic Electric for the wiring that goes with the generator, which is bidded as an addendum for $10,101, for a total of $79,411, and the actual budget amount was $80,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second. Okay. Motion's been made and seconded.
Gotta ask, what's happening to the old one?
We're still using it. We don't plan on getting
No,
rid
we're
of it.
not, not trading.
Nope.
Okay. Guess we may have a use for it.
Yes.
So that's the one you can hold up there, as you just asked.
Yeah, we may have a permanent parking place.
Right. Just out of curiosity, Zelic bid a generator and the electrical hookup,
Right, everybody did.
but it was clear that those were separate?
Right. Pan would be right here if there wasn't.
Okay. So it doesn't impact the warranty or anything if a different electrician from the winning bidder?
No, totally separate from the generator.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any further questions, comments? Call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 8, environmental planner, Kevin McGee, 8.1, consider to take possible action to set a town meeting date for Tuesday, January 20th. Should be 2015, your agenda's incorrect there, it says 2014. 8:15 a.m. at the Guilford Town Hall to act on a conservation easement for Assessors Map 92, Lot 15, of Sunset Meadow subdivision, and send to planning and zoning for mandatory referral under CGS Section 8-24. Kevin, good morning.
Morning. We have a application or proposal for a conservation easement for Sunset Meadow subdivision. This is a subdivision located on Stepstone Hill Road and Nut Plains Road and a little bit of Little Meadow Road. Orient everybody, Stepstone Hill Road's up here, Little Meadow Road's over here, and Nut Plains Road here. This is a 5-lot subdivision with 2 driveways coming off of Nut Plains, driveway coming off Stepstone, another one off of Stepstone, and one coming in off of Little Meadow Road. It's a just over a 15-acre subdivision, and they're proposing to provide 4.82 acres in conservation easement area. The conservation easement area is the center portion of the property, sort of in the gray hatched area. Doesn't quite show as well as I thought it would be. So this is part of the
The darker lines. in there.
yeah, the darker lines
Yeah,
going
yeah.
this way. This is part of a subdivision approved by Planning and Zoning Commission. It's been through land acquisition with approvals for both of them. The receiving of the open space through and the conservation easement part of this is actually part of the regulations for planning and zoning subdivisions. So we have the text of the document in front of us and requesting that it gets moved forward to make sure I say it right, town meeting on the, in January 20th.
With the mandatory referral.
Correct.
Okay.
Back to planning and zoning.
Okay. The only action we have to take here this morning is to set the town meeting date for January 20th at 8:15 a.m. And that is 2015, not 2014.
I'm gonna say somebody has a time machine going backwards.
Yeah, well, we don't want to do that again. Okay. All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
All right. Item 9, Health Director Dennis Johnson, 9.1, consider and take possible action on a resolution authorizing Dennis Johnson, Health Director, to file a financial assistance application and execute the agreement for the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund on behalf of the town of Guilford with the State Department of Public Health. Morning, Dennis.
Good morning.
We're at that point finally, huh?
Yes, The motion is pretty straightforward. There's a certain amount of paperwork that has to be filed with the State Health Department. In order to receive funding from the State Drinking Water Revolving Fund. And they do allow the selectmen to delegate their responsibility to the local health director or the water company for the town. So the process is that we have to first fill out an application, it's called an eligibility application, to determine whether or not the town project, the proposed project of the water main extension is actually eligible for a State Drinking Water Revolving Fund loan. I'm quite sure it will be because it was last time that we filled out the application. And then if our eligibility application is accepted and the project is accepted, then the next step is to file a financial assistance application, which would allow the town to receive money to cover the project at a 2% interest rate spread out over 20 years. So it's a pretty good deal. Plus there's a possibility that there would be loan forgiveness funds also through the State Bonding Commission to offset the amount that the town borrowed by up to 50%. So there's additional funding that could play into this project as well in the future.
And this would be directed to the Mulberry Point.
This would be
Yeah,
for the
Point.
Mulberry and
Right,
Tuttlers
okay.
Point communities, extending the water main off the old Sachem's Head Road, kind of the backdoor route into that area.
Is there a request number, or is that subject to their?
The
Funding.
total project cost, including all the construction, the contingency, the engineering inspection costs, total project cost right now is estimated to be $2,427,000. Now, the water company has agreed to contribute $1.4 million to the project. So the net cost to be recovered through assessments would be $1,027,000. So it's just over $1 million would be the net cost. But like I said, that could be further reduced through subsidies and further loan forgiveness.
But the funding would be that amount, this isn't subject to
Right.
14 other towns applying for the same thing, so they say we only get half, either we get it or we don't, is that the way this
Correct.
works?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So you need a motion then to empower the first selectman to sign?
No, Dennis.
Dennis.
Or Dennis?
Dennis, yeah.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Okay, motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Pass. Thank you, Dennis. That would be great if we can get that. All right. Item 10, discuss and take possible action on the 2015 meeting schedule, and that's based on the calendar year that you have in your packet. It's pretty much follows the current year's meeting schedule. Is there any comments on it,
You
Gary?
need
I
a
mean,
motion to
Carl?
adopt?
I'm sorry.
No, do you need a motion to adopt? or-
Yes, we do. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Gary?
You had talked about one of the January meetings potentially being an evening meeting. Does that change what we approve here?
No, that would just be a special
Oh,
meeting.
you do it as a special
Yeah,
meeting?
right.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Am I correct, Trace? Okay, yes, okay. Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Carries. All right. Item 11, appointments and resignations. 11.1, act on a recommendation to appoint Dean Mitchell to the Board of Fire Commissioners to fill a vacancy for a term to expire October 16th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
There's a second. Okay, motion made. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Act on a recommendation, I'm sorry. I'll start all over. Act on a recommendation to appoint Teresa Hedelson as an alternate to the Harbor Management Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire July 31st, 2018.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Act on a recommendation to move Paul May from an alternate to a regular member on the Conservation Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire February 28, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on a recommendation to move Robert Cusio from an alternate to a regular member of the Economic Development Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire November 30th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Act on a recommendation to appoint Barbara Hemming to the Board of Ethics to fill a vacancy for a term to expire July 31st, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Act on a recommendation to appoint Mark White as an alternate to the Economic Development Commission to fill a vacancy for a term to expire April 30th, 2016.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Act on a recommendation to appoint James Goodrich to the Standing Building Committee to fill a vacancy for a term to expire June 17th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on a recommendation to reappoint Deborah Dedio to the Board of Ethics for a term to expire July 31st, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Act on a recommendation to reappoint Rose Dossett to Parks and Recs Commission for a term to expire February 28th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, pass. Act on a recommendation received from from the Conservation Commission. Do I have a motion?
So moved, with
With regrets. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Act on a resignation received from Alan Brown from the Shellfish Commission.
So moved, with regrets.
Second with regrets. All those in favor?
Aye.
12, request for the use of town property. I have 12.1 to 12.4.
I would move that we approve the request as delineated in the agenda.
All those, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. 13, correspondence. 13.1 is the Public Works Monthly Report, and 13.2 is the Building Officials Monthly Report. Any comments on either one of those reports?
Joe, can you ask them to go, the building official to go
Back to the regular report? I would love to do that.
I mean,
It confuses me too.
yeah.
I agree with you.
Used to have a year-to-date,
Right.
you used to have last year, you
Right.
had some basis of comparison. I would appreciate it if they could go back to the old format.
Trace, would you make a note that we send them a memorandum to request that the Board of Selectmen request that they go back to the prior format, okay? Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, committee reports, I think we're finito with the 375, right?
I hope so. Yes, I think we are.
Okay. Just on the high school report, someone mentioned Stillford High School. Yes, they are. I've been meeting with the vice chairman regularly, and almost on a daily basis I hear about it. The school is moving along beautifully. It's on time, maybe 2 or 3 days behind schedule, but when you're dealing with a project that size, it's on time. And it is on budget. I know it's a cliche, but that's the truth. It has moved along real well. And I'm very proud of that committee. They're doing a fantastic job. They're very, very diligent in performing their duties, and kudos to them. And it's getting to be exciting. So we look forward to, I guess, to dedication and opening day. So, as far as Carl just mentioned, 375, they did an outstanding job, going back to almost 2 years from the planning stages, the fundraising, and the execution of all the events, and we're over. I mean, it was a great year. They did it was a wonderful year in celebrating the 375th anniversary of this town. Old business, the only thing I would mention is that I would like to thank Selectman Havener for stepping in my shoes while I was on vacation, and you didn't have an opportunity to sell the town, did you? No, I'll get a good price for it, but you didn't. Thank you for filling in for me, I appreciate it. Anything else on
We'll
old
kick
business?
off the next 25 years with the new small Christmas tree, though. I received a number of comments at the tree lighting, because we only did the small one this year.
Yeah.
So, we should have used that as part of the ceremony. We used the tree lighting as the ending of the 375th, but it's actually the beginning of a new little tree.
There you go. Okay.
Were the comments positive about the smaller tree?
They were when we were done.
Okay.
At least there's a lot of lights on it. We didn't have. Yeah.
Well, that's it,
Yeah.
you know?
So, good. All right. Well, thank you, Charles. I
It's a
appreciate it.
nice little tree. It is. A few too many comments about the Charlie Brown tree, but that's all right.
I heard that. Any new business? Okay. No. Public forum. Anybody wishing to address the board? I don't see anybody looking to address the board. Okay, we'll have to go into executive session. I'll,
Move we go into executive session.
okay, with the, our in-house counsel, and I don't believe we need the finance director on this point, though, so. Okay, there was a motion made.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll be coming back.
We probably will come back for a vote, thank you. Oh, hold on.
I've got it.
You got it, okay. Need a motion to come out of executive session, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Gary, you have a
I
motion for
would
us?
move that we authorize in-house counsel to pursue the surety on the Staples bid, which had been withdrawn.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Any further business to come before the selectmen? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Oh, I need a motion?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.
I thought the idea of a Selectmen's Christmas party wasn't all that bad. Now that we get $23,000.
Oh, by the way.